Meetings and events equal cost. It's a real problem, particularly during recession, to justify that spend, because we know that events change emotion and that emotion changes business behaviour, but it's very difficult to measure the direct business impact of those events or indeed of those meetings. So there's an event specifically set up to help you as a meeting professional understand the methodology, the architecture and the strategic meeting management protocols that are helpful for you to help illustrate the value of those meetings and the impact on your business that they have. I caught up with the architects of ROI Week to find out more.
Well, it's a whole week dedicated to planning and evaluating meetings and events. We have a 5-day ROI certification course. We have special courses in ROI forecasting, questionnaire design. We introduce a new online ROI tool, and we also have a 2-day course in meeting architecture. We've got Jack Phillips for the week. Jack Phillips, as many will know, is the father of the ROI methodology. He has written or co-authored more than 50 books on ROI, and there's none better than him, except for maybe his wife, Patty Phillips. She is the CEO of the ROI Institute, and we're delighted that we have both of them in Dublin for the entire week.
Everybody seems to be talking about meeting architecture today. I mean, Martin Vaness has written the book, and you yourself have been instrumental in writing and publishing the Meeting Architecture Manifesto for Change.
Planning and meeting architecture are really part and parcel of the same thing. Before you can start designing your event, you need a set of good objectives at different levels, and the ROI methodology enables you to develop the objectives. Then the meeting architect takes over and he says, well, how do we achieve those objectives? How do we design the meeting? So we communicate our message, so that we inspire and engage our audience, so that we facilitate the networking between people who really should benefit from meeting. That's the meeting architecture. And during this ROI week, we try to combine the two, the architecture and the evaluation and setting the objectives. And the result of all that is meetings delivering better value. That's what it's all about.
I know you're very excited about the launch of a new online tool for measuring return on investment, Sensei ROI.
This is an online tool. It's been developed by Gale Storm Limited in Ireland, together with Jack Phillips. It's built from scratch based on the ROI methodology.
It's focused really on enabling organisations to be able to implement it as a utility process and embed it within their process to make it seamless and very cost effective. This is not just about surveying and collecting data, this is about planning a process from start to finish. And it really is about encapsulating that really all-important upfront planning piece. And I think the context of this conference where you've got meeting architecture in there, it's so important to get it right when you're planning it. Planning your objectives up front, and from that your data collection should just fall out of it. And that's what we've envisaged in terms of the software application, how it works. So you plan your objectives, and from that your data collection, your surveys, your questionnaires, your 360s just pops out of it with a click of a button, and then you click of a button to distribute it, and then you click of a button just to analyse it afterwards. So it takes away all the fuzz, the distraction of data collection and administration, and focuses you on the really high value add part of the process.
Procurement will like this.
Procurement hopefully will love it. In terms of a requisition process, it's ideal where you start by engaging your stakeholders, start by talking to people about business impacts. Rather than talking about competencies or conferences, you go in and you start talking what you want to get out of this program from the perspective of the business, and then talk to the operational people in terms of what their operational focus is. How do you see behaviours changing as a result? And from that, then, what's the content that should go in there? And it really turns, I suppose, the process on its head a little, where we're beginning to look at impact before we ever begin. And from a procurement perspective, that's really good.
Can it actually have a bearing on cost?
Absolutely. In terms of the cost of the process, from all sorts of different perspectives, if you look at the cost of evaluation itself, it dramatically reduces it, because you're down to clicks of buttons rather than big, extensive manual data processing. So it removes all that cost aspect of it, and it dramatically reduces the number of man hours that you need everybody involved in. So you can conceivably get your stakeholders around the table, build an evaluation plan, and actually generate your surveys there and then, in one sitting, rather than something that takes weeks of toing and froing and checks and balances. So in terms of the process, yes. But also in terms of eliminating programs that shouldn't be there in the first place, or improving ones that are there and getting an awful lot more out of them, then there's a huge cost benefit. And I think that's where the real end game is improving the return on investment on your conferences and events to start with.
these days, it's no good if you're a meeting planner and you say to your budget owner, if you will only give me the money, I will tell you afterwards if it was well spent. The key focus now is on how to make your event budgets credible and secure the budget in the first place. And that's when you use the ROI methodology as a planning tool, which it was always meant to be. And then afterwards you can measure results. But the key focus in these hard times of recession is to make sure that when you plan your event, you plan it for the maximum bottom line value. And that's really what it's all about.
And finally, Elling, why Dublin?
Well, Dublin is the result of quite a long search all across Europe. First of all, we were looking for a country house hotel with atmosphere and character and the sort of place where you'd just like to spend a week. That was our first criteria. But then we said we need to be close to an international airport. And we were quite surprised, actually, when we looked at airport statistics. It turns out that Dublin is one of the best connected airports in Europe. That's when you look at only flights to other European airports. And Dublin is only 20 minutes from here. So the combination of this venue and accessibility through Dublin Airport was absolutely perfect.
Return on Investment Week runs from the 31st of August to the 4th of September at the Radisson St Helens in Dublin. Registration is now open at www.eventroi.org and there are only limited places available. So if you're a meeting professional, an L&D specialist or involved in the procurement of events, please book your place as soon as possible.
Every day, we take a little inspiration into the air. Inspiration direct from the heart of modern Arabia. New heights of comfort, service, and luxury for all. And those little touches that make every flight special. But no matter where in the world we fly, nothing beats the feeling of coming home. Etihad Airways, from Abu Dhabi to the world.